pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have the roll call of officers.
Mark Lodi, Gary Guglielmetti, Henry Williams,
Present.
Christian Lynch, Alan Doa.
Here.
Does everybody have the minutes, or did everybody read the minutes?
Yeah.
Are there any corrections, changes, additions, deletions?
No, I didn't have anything.
Did you read the minutes? Okay. Okay, Alan?
Yep.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of February's meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Now, we have a new variance request application. Do you want to read the application, or?
No, we don't typically read the applications. It's a request for a use variance in relief of 116-40A1,
Yeah, A1.
submitted by Don Brewer on behalf of Howard Gordensky for the Setchville lot in 28.
Okay, is there anything that you want to add or speak on for this use variance as opposed to the area variance?
The only thing different is our system that you might have also. There were some questions by somebody from the public hearing last time about affordable housing.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I have the letter here.
okay, you got that. Okay, you got copies of it. So,
So he's saying that some of the one-bedrooms, a few of the proposed one-bedroom apartments will meet the RUPCO standard. Is there any clarity on a few?
I don't.
He didn't say.
Once you saw the price that Rupco was saying for one bedroom, says, yeah, some might have to do that, so.
And I think a few means to me too. If it wasn't,
A
it would
couple
say
is
one.
two, a few is,
Two. A couple, two.
I don't know. It would be nice to know exactly what he had in mind. It may help the situation.
Well, exactly what he wants is still 7 units, or has he changed it to 6 and some of them are a little larger?
No.
Well, he would like to keep it the way that, but if the zoning board felt it was necessary, he would make two bedrooms and 4 one-bedrooms.
I don't think the zoning board's going to do that. I think what we're going to do is send you back, if it's approved, back to the planning board. And the planning board will have their own regulations on parking and character of the neighborhood.
Ways of saying no.
They put in for a special use permit. We're not
So
authorized to
this-
grant those.
No, and that's not what the board is asking me to do. So the use variance is just going to allow them to create a multifamily structure, because they can't right now, because there's no existing structure. The area variance is remaining. One of them is in relief of the section of the code that you can only have 4. Without the without the use variance, the project's dead in the water. Without the area variance on the 4, then they can only do 4. I want to say, because if the use variance were to be approved, then the rest of the code would apply as it pertains to the planning board.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying, is that we can approve the use variance.
Right.
And if approved, he would go back to the planning board for his special use permit.
Right, but he
And
couldn't.
there, they can define how many, as long
No,
as.
they cannot, the planning board cannot defy code. The planning board cannot say, the code says you can only have 4, but go ahead and have 6.
No,
That's,
but when we give the use variance,
It's
if we
only
do,
like-
if we grant that,
right,
that would be granted based on 11640A1, which is you can build a multifamily structure
right,
out of an existing
correct.
property on the house,
Correct.
on the property.
Absolutely.
And then it goes on to A2, which says if you're going to do that, you can only have 4
Exactly.
units in one house.
In one
Is
structure,
what they
correct.
said.
Correct.
And
So
then
if-
it goes on further to say that on that piece of property, if you want to build more, the density has to come into play on how
Of course.
much land you
No,
want.
the density applies to however many dwellings there are, regardless of whether or not there are 8 different units, it doesn't matter. What does matter is, if this applicant goes back to the planning board with an approved use variance, then the planning board can only approve 4 units, never more. Because the code further defines multifamily as nothing exceeding 4 units. So the only way that he's ever gonna be able to build anything with more than 4 units is with a use variance for the one and an area variance for the number of units inside the dwelling. Without both, he
I
can't
think-
do
I
the
think
7
my-
units.
Then that brings me to the fact that if we approve the use variance, and we approve the number of units, and we also approve, based on that, the 2 area variances, why does the applicant have to go back to the planning board?
Because the project still requires a special use permit and site
That's
plan
what I'm
approval.
saying, and we can't authorize that, but the
You
planning
want- you're
board is
not.
gonna have their own public hearing
Of course.
on this issue.
Of course they are. Yes, absolutely. We're getting stuck on variances and use. This board is not addressing outside the use variance. Use. The actual project if it ever gets approved, if these variances get approved and it goes to the planning board gets to decide there is or there is not enough parking. It
Yeah,
meets
use
these
variance,
standards in
what
this
they're
code. It goes
requesting
through environmental quality review, it goes through all that with them.
Yeah, plus the amount of parking and where the parking.
Yes, they address the
is.
parking
Character of the
situation.
neighborhood is also part of the special use permit.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think my only point was that if the use variance would be approved and the area variance is denied, then the applicant could go back to the planning board with a project that had 4 units but no more. That's all I was saying.
Okay.
They just send them right
So in
back.
applying for a use variance, you realize that you're seeking from the zoning board of appeals the right to do something on your residential 1.5 property, something that is prohibited in the Shandaken code book. So I just want, and based on that, there are certain standards that you have to meet based on New York State. And those standards there's 4 of them to be met. And could you read those? Because I don't see that yet.
Want me to read them? Yeah, I got it.
If you would.
On the use variance?
Yes.
That the property is incapable of earning reasonable return on initial investment if used for any of the allowed uses in the district. Actual dollars and cents proof must be submitted. That the property is affected by unique or at least highly uncommon circumstances. That's 2. 3, that the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. And 4, that the hardship is not self-created. If any one or more of the above factors is not proven, state law requires that the ZBA must deny the variance.
Yeah, and just so it's clear, I have a copy of this that you can have, and it'll make things so at the public hearing, you'll be able to address those issues. Does anybody have any questions for Don on this project?
No, I don't think so, I don't.
So basically, the project's the same, other
Yep.
than he's willing to do a couple of repco housing.
No,
Guidelines.
No. He's not going to do RUPCO housing. He's never said that he will
He's
do
just
RUPCO
following the
housing.
guidelines of.
He's saying that their guidelines, a few of his units will meet their standard for the lower
For rents.
rents.
Do you have any questions? No?
Nope.
Can I get a motion to,
Do you feel comfortable moving this to public hearing? Understanding that when the applicant has a public hearing, everything that's going to be reviewed to approve or deny this application must be available to the public. So it's everything we have right now. If new information is presented during that public hearing, then we have to extend it a month so the public has time to review that information.
Well, we don't have any of this proof of the variance requirements that I just read.
Kind of my point. If you do not feel that the application is ready for public hearing, then you can ask the applicant to return next month with the information you want. But if new information were to be presented during that public hearing, it wouldn't matter, you'd have to push it a month.
I mean, this has been going on for, I think, like
That's
5
not for
months
me to
already.
decide, that's for you to decide. It's what you feel comfortable with.
You can't have it for a public hearing with a condition that we get you that information?
That's what it, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
you can come to the public hearing with the information that's requested, and you can present it to us, and if we have any questions about any of it,
Absolutely.
we'll confer with you over it, and the public will be here, and if need be, then we could, if it gets, I guess, too complicated, we could have another public hearing.
No, it's fine. If I could have everything that you plan to present to the board 10 days prior to the meeting, so I can have it on the website available for the public to review, it's beautiful. That's fantastic.
Is that,
Which will be these 4 items, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, is that okay?
Well, I think we have to do it that way.
I mean, I don't know whether you'll be able to, get all of that information prior to.
That'll be the 17th. You guys pick a time.
But also, I'd like to request from the planning board an advisory recommendation.
They can't give that.
They're supposed to give that. This came from the planning board to
But
us.
they can't, advisory recommendation as it pertains to us.
Well, I think this board should, in all fairness, because the planning board reviewed this whole issue, that they should at least provide us with the recommendation whether they agree or don't agree to the variance.
They can't,
Just like
then it's
this-
going to be that they don't agree. The only recommendation they can give is that the project as presented does not fit code, and they cannot approve it. That's all they can
Okay.
say.
How about an advisory recommendation from the town board based on
That
the
you can ask.
resolution that they passed at the last town board meeting?
That, yes,
So
That
I'd
could
like
be
to
done.
request that.
yes. You want their recommendations about these variances as
Yes.
it pertains to the resolution they passed about housing last month. That's
To
beautiful.
see what their feel is on the project.
I can do that. I have no idea if they'll respond, but I can absolutely present it to them.
I would hope they would respond.
So we're doing 6:45 next month then?
What's up to you guys? Yeah.
Well, I make a motion that we go ahead with the public hearing at the April's meeting,
6:45.
6:45.
Now, the last public hearing is still going.
Yes.
We're going to keep that open.
That'll run.
We got to make a motion to,
Is there anybody here for that? Are you here for that? Are you for?
Well, that'll run concurrently with the public hearing next month, and it'll be a part of the legal notice.
all right, I'd like to make a motion that we keep the public hearing on the 2 area variances open for another 30 days.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Tom.
Are you here for us? Oh, no,
What is it?
he has something, he'd like to speak to the board? Why not?
Why not?
We're here, we're here.
You've got a quorum present.
Yeah, just an issue that I just wanted to address. I don't know if this is the time or place, but based on a couple of places. But, so, yes, thank you for, I guess, just the opportunity to speak. I'm not in business wasting.
What is your name?
My name is Rob Samphona. My name is Rob Santona. I live on Mount Pleasant Road, big red house across from Emerson. Yeah, so again, so I'm not in the business of really wasting anybody's time. Like I said, I don't know if this is even the right term, but my family and I have lived here for the last 5 years. My wife has lived here her entire life. She's graduated from Monteora High School, and she's the operations manager down at Fruition Chocolate. I've worked in local businesses, restaurants, textiles in the industry for about the last 10 years. I now operate a financial planning practice here in the community. So my family's been expanding and wishes to continue to be a part of this community. Buying a home has been largely out of our reach the last couple of years due to inflation in the economy. This is combined with properties being purchased specifically to be turned into Airbnb or virtual rentals. Some of these properties have even been purchased by outside money from people who have never even visited here. I don't plan to harp on this point too much, just based on the fact that I know that nobody in this room is probably responsible for some of those things. But currently we rent from a really great set of landlords who are two very responsible people who seem to obey all the laws and all the codes that have been established. We've gone above it, they've gone above and beyond to make sure that the local people have an affordable place to rent and that the landlords aren't going to cut corners in order to make a quick buck. Our property houses local business owners from Woodstock Brewing and Asoka's Guitars, formerly known as Spectre Bass Guitars, based out of Showcam. Our residency also provides local places for people to live who work at the Catskill Rec Center and Scribner's and Hunter, Fruition Chocolate to Bread Alone. Another issue that I guess that I've noticed over the last 10 years is just some of these landlords seem to be very absent from their properties. It seems like a lot of these are cash grabs. Sadly, a lot of these landlords have been plentiful due to this. I do not think that this is the fault, obviously, of this board, but I think it's an issue and I don't really know who to address my sort of concerns with. These absentee landlords are very aware of the lack of housing and how it draws up the rental pricing and the lack of choices that you have when issues arrive. My family just a couple of weeks ago made an attempt to leave the one bedroom that we have in Mount Tremper for a 2-bedroom in Olive, but due to safety concerns arising out of this currently updated apartment, we were forced to move back into our 1-bedroom apartment in Mount Tremper. This is obviously a much larger story that I wouldn't have time to address here, but these absentee landlords are still very much within our community. So really what I'm asking to do is just to plead with the town if they can, to approve more housing units for hardworking people who actually live and work in this community, to property owners that exist here already who want to continue to do the right thing by their tenants. My plans obviously wouldn't include something as ridiculous as maybe helicopter pads or sewers being dug into the ground, but just something that local families can exist to continue to live here and thrive in. Clients of mine have lived here for generations. They're hardworking families, doing their best to live affordably and keep their extended families close by. It's that's a super important thing for me. I'm not originally from the area, but I'd love to keep my family sort of together with her cousins and grandparents. So really my point is that if anybody has any information that they could express to me as to why this has been sort of a difficult thing over the last couple of years, I'd be open and accepting to that dialogue, and thank you very much for just letting me speak for a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said is important to the town, and obviously it's very important to the town because they just passed a resolution at the last board meeting about affordable housing, multifamily housing, and they're very, very, and we have a housing committee, a smart housing committee in the town of Shandaken. So I think the town of Shandaken is doing everything they can currently to move forward with building some affordable housing, but one of our problems is, as you probably well know, is that the amount of property available to build on in the town of Shandaken is limited.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I'm
there's a
actually
lot of
unaware
flood
of
zones and
the
things
first
like
point that
that.
you just made. I'm sorry, I was completely unaware of that. I just have not really been familiar with the process up until having to pull a move and then an emergency move from one town to another. So it's just been a bigger conversation, and I just kind of want to come over.
So you're in Mr. Wadinsky's building now in
I
Mount
am,
Tremper?
yes, Howard and Marjorie. Yeah, I've been there now for about 5 years. I'm originally from Nyack, so my wife went to Monteora High School. She grew up in West Hurley. Her whole family is located here.
Sure.
So again, yeah, I just wanted to come over and just introduce myself and just say this is, somebody in the community. I'm sure that people have addressed this. I've seen some things being done, but
Yep.
yeah, I just wanted, like I said, to come over, introduce myself, and just kind of address this.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for the time. I appreciate that as well.
But you should visit the Housing Committee,
Okay,
which is a pretty active committee.
okay.
There's a meeting on the 25th.
25th.
Of
Would that
April.
also be in this building?
Right here.
No, I mean, is it March 25th?
Next Monday.
Next Monday,
Yeah,
here.
And
It's
also,
gonna be a
here in
big
this
one.
room, yeah.
The presentation about ADUs and counties coming. The Housing Committee was formed in conjunction with the Smart Housing Task Force in Ulster County.
Gotcha.
If the towns would choose to either join them or not. But I think it's our best, that Housing Committee, along with the comprehensive plan being updated, will largely be what guides housing in Shandaken, I think, for the next big picture, 10, 15, the way the code's gonna change and to allow the types of housing that those committees decide this town needs. It's all driven by that. I'll say it's fascinating because it fascinates me, but I understand some people are bored by it. But the meetings are actually, if you're interested, they're good to attend, and we love.
What time will it be on Monday?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, okay.
and
Housing
also
is the
town
last
board.
Monday of every month, and the comp plan is the first.
Last Monday of every month, okay.
And the Comprehensive Planning Committee,
No, the second, excuse me, it's the second Monday of every month.
and also the town board meetings on the first Monday of every month
Right.
at 7 o'clock.
Right, no, I appreciate that, yeah, and for allowing the moment just to kind of speak
Yeah, of
about this,
course.
like, you know, it's been a crazy couple of years, obviously, and I know that, that people have probably come up here and blamed everybody for things that are out of their control. So I didn't want to, I obviously didn't want to start off a conversation like that, I hope it didn't come across that
And
way.
everybody's aware of it, and it's a tough situation. We're trying to figure out how to overcome all this, actually, which is the harder part.
Right.
We know what the problem is, how do we solve it?
Right,
And we're actually here to help individuals that own property develop what they can,
right,
you know, to meet the needs of the community.
okay.
So
Yeah,
we're trying our best.
I would actually just
You know,
love to
limited
put
by
on
the
record
code.
about that. Howard and Marjorie are, so I've lived in Catskills now for about the last 10 years. This situation that happened to me a couple weeks ago, while this isn't obviously the fault of anyone in the town of Shandaken, yeah, a lot of these landlords, they've been cutting a lot of corners to try to get things done, and I moved into a place that didn't have smoke alarms or railings in the building or anything, and they were very well aware of it, and I now have to kind of fight with them just to get money back. I mean, literally, I moved, and then 12 days later, I moved literally right back into Howard and Marjorie's apartment. I have a son who's 2 years old. We've been trying to move out and expand as quickly as possible, and I know it's been crazy. I don't expect anybody to start building houses on the river either, or like the complex that's being built in Woodstock. That's why I mentioned the part with the helicopters coming in. I really just seek to live my life. I'm 41. I seek to just kind of live my life here with my family as long as possible. My family and I, we love it here, and we wouldn't want to have to leave the area. I love the community, everybody from my mailman to the people who work around me. So
It's good to hear.
yeah.
And-
Yeah.
And we don't want you to leave.
No, I appreciate
You
that.
stay here.
Well, I can say though that Howard and Marjorie have been the best landlords that I've had in my time living in the Catskills, hands down. And this situation that actually happened a couple weeks ago has been the third time that I've attempted to move in the last 10 years where issues like this have arose. Most of it has been in Kingston, so it hasn't been up here. It's also part of the reason that we live here. But yeah, that's all that I really have to say. So I definitely appreciate the open communication. I wasn't sure sitting in here, maybe I came to the wrong meeting.
No, thanks.
But yeah, so thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you. All right, everybody have a great night.
Yes, you
You
as
too.
well.
Thank you very much.
And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Last thing, quick reminder, next Monday's meeting, housing meeting, at 7, counts as training for anybody who comes.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Do we have any new business before the board? Any communication? Any old business, other than us?
Motion to close?
Hearing none, can we get a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried.
Oh my goodness.